They're worse.
If we just combined our front offices, I think we would be in fantastic shape. We just need one giant brain trust.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 111 of Birds vs. Boys. There was like nothing happening right when we were going to record, and then bang, some breaking news happened in the Philadelphia world. Nothing's still happening in the Cowboys world this offseason much. We'll dive into that. But before we do anything, Aidan, how are you? And I am very interested to see how you feel about this Philadelphia news that just broke. I think I know how you're going to feel.
Personally, feel terrible.
Uh-oh.
As a sports fan, I would be all in on Tyrann Mathieu. As a podcast co-host who does media, I'm great because anytime the story drops before the show instead of after the show, huge blessing.
Why are we feeling terrible as a human?
But nothing that has to do with the Eagles football.
So cloud 9 last week.
Yeah.
Falling off the cloud this week.
Crashing down. Okay. Yeah. All time come down.
It happens. That's life.
Yeah.
Life is a roller coaster. That's all it is.
Honestly, yeah.
I fell asleep 2 minutes ago while I'm waiting to start the podcast while sitting here in this chair because I have a little human in my house that keeps me awake.
All right, I'm good.
Well, I think I fell asleep. So yeah, we're on the same wavelength there. It's fine.
There you go.
Where do you want to start? There's some stuff happening in the league. Obviously, the draft is only a few weeks away. We are going to be having a few big draft guests on leading up. We have a couple locked in. Don't want to give any names out yet, but we're right there with having some really good draft guests. We are also going to do our BVB Mock 2.0 after this, so that's going to be out on our YouTube page. So, I mean, where would you like to start? We have a TikTok tonight. Just me and you, no producer Vince. So how are you feeling? Where do you want to go?
Let's start with a bridge from our mock draft to the Eagles trade, because the last time we did the mock draft is the only time where I got to choose 3 times.
And then the Eagles looked at you and said, nope.
Yeah, they're like, you can't have that much power.
Enough fun.
It's bad for you. I think I said this when we did the mock draft. I was like, full disclosure, for the sake of the draft, I'm going to draft 3 people. I don't think they're going to have 3 picks. And then less than a week later, after we did that mock draft, they make that trade.
Yep.
That was just like a very predictable Eagles move. And I think it makes total sense. So this is our first time getting to talk about that, but it also impacts our mock draft going forward. So it's something worthwhile.
So two-part question here. How do you feel about this trade? I know you say it's a very Philadelphia Eagles trade, which I believe it is as well. So it's predictable. We kind of knew they were going to move around. Didn't know if they were going to move around before the draft or night of the draft like they did last year with Dallas, but we knew there was going to be some movement with these 3 picks. And 2, what do you think this means? Does this mean they're stocking up for ammo for next year, which is a better quarterback class with, Stroud and those boys? Or do you think there's going to be more movement this year with them?
So to answer the first question first, I did like this move a lot, even though it was a predictable move. It's one that I had seen people theorize that they might not even be able to pull off because everyone knows like what they're trying to do, which is kind of load up, and they have 3 picks. They don't want to use all 3, so they'll trade them. So I'm honestly a little bit surprised that they were able to, again, fleece another team, pick up more picks. And I felt this way when I read it and looked at the draft compensation. I was like, why do I feel like we got more? And then everybody else, every article I read was like, the Eagles just got more.
Yep.
So I think that was, again, I don't think they wanted to make all 3 first-round picks. I saw Adam Schefter say, like, you don't want to pay 3 at one time.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. People don't realize how expensive paying 3 first-round draft picks is under your salary cap.
Yeah, yes and no. So like, yeah, that does play a part in it. But I also think just like you picked up for more draft compensation down the road on top of this while not sacrificing a ton of draft compensation in the short term. So you're setting yourself up for both short term and long term and not minimizing your window of success, which I think is the best part of this. And another part of this, we're not huge fans of the Saints. For some reason, the Saints always hated us. So if I get to root against the Saints all year, fine. That's awesome.
Why not?
And then to answer the second part of your question, you kind of referenced it in asking, but it is a much better quarterback draft next year with two guys who one won the Heisman and two was the runner-up in the Heisman, correct? And CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, who are going to be draft eligible next year. And there don't seem to be the concerns with those guys that you have with these guys this year. So you, get another year seeing if Jalen Hurts is the guy. If he is, fine. You have a ton of draft compensation to build around him. If he isn't, you have a ton of draft compensation to go get one of those other guys. So it's just about optionality and flexibility. This is what it is.
Now, do you think they should use one of these two picks on another weapon to put around Hurts and one of these top wide receivers, which check out our TikTok tonight. We might be ranking the top 5 receivers in this draft that we believe and give him that opportunity to thrive?
Yes, I think that's imperative. Because I've been saying this since Wentz was here. You're never going to know if you're not surrounding these guys with talent. Mm-hmm. And it continued into the Jalen Hurts era where I like Devontae Smith a lot. I like Dallas Goedert. But you need more. Yep. You just simply need more. You look around the league, just the amount of talent. And I think we ran during the season, like I was running down the playoff contenders, like the skill position sets. And the Eagles had the weakest skill position class or core. So I do think that one of these picks needs to go to a weapon for him. And, if they use both picks on defense, though, I'm not going to be upset. They still need to build that defense, but I would like to see another weapon around Hurts in some form or fashion.
Yeah, it's true. You always need more. I mean, even look at Dallas. Yes, they traded away Amari Cooper. That kind of brought down, obviously, the receiving core for the Cowboys. But one, they had personal issues with Amari. I think they were just done with him. And two, $20 million a year. They wanted to get rid of that money. But they re-signed Gallup. They have CeeDee Lamb there. They signed James Washington. But you're hearing the chatter that, one, they may be looking to trade for Brandon Cooks, maybe sign another one of these free agents, or drafting a receiver at 24. So it's the same thing. They may still have Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, and they have Schultz still, but they're still looking to add another playmaker because you need more.
As you should. And just, again, optionality. Not having that one threat. Give it multiple threats. I think Brandon Cooks would be a phenomenal pickup. I assume he's going to get traded at some point. I would venture to guess every team's going to go through the draft process, see if they are able to land one of these receivers. And then after that, if they don't get their guy, check in on Brandon Cooks. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
And Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, and apparently Deebo Samuel is not happy now, and DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. It's that whole class when they're because now teams are looking like, holy shit, look what Tyreek made. Holy shit, look what Stephon Diggs is. We can't pay this, And like the Niners aren't just getting, the Niners don't pay. And they still have Jimmy G on the books for $25 million. Kittle had to wait for his deal. So Debo's like, and the Niners are like, oh, I don't know. And now he unfollowed them on Instagram.
That's my favorite thing.
I know.
I think that's the dumbest thing.
And McAfee was talking about it today. He's like, he unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram, but his profile picture is him in a 49ers jersey.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
I just don't get that bargaining tactic of, I'm going to unfollow you on Instagram. Like,
it's this Gen Z, mentality that they think it's going to do anything.
Yeah. But honestly, if there was one guy, like if you're looking through the core of receivers next in line to get paid, Debo's the guy.
Right.
Just that wing back position that he has created, I think the value would be worth the price tag. And another name, DK Metcalf. So I keep hearing that floated around. And they ESPN put out they gave 12 different trades for DK Metcalf. And the one was the Eagles give up a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick. And I was like, yeah, I would have done that yesterday. What?
Yeah, but did you hear the Jets offered the 10th overall pick and Seattle said no?
Did they really?
Yeah, it came out today or yesterday. that
They
offer,
really
they
want
have
a
4 and
receiver
10.
bad.
Yeah, they want a receiver. And now I'm like, hello, did the Cowboys ever call the Jets about Amari? They might
Yeah,
have
I
been
know.
able to
You
get
could have
a
got a
3.
first-round pick. Yeah.
It's like, what? I don't, they're trying to get everybody. Why wouldn't, if they could have got Amari Cooper for a 3, I would have taken that to
They would
put
have been
around Zach
in.
Wilson.
They would have absolutely been in.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Yeah, apparently they said no to the 10. So I don't think they're going with a 3 and a 5 because it's, I get it. They don't have a quarterback right now. But at the same time, like, you still want to compete.
You can't completely just go bare bones, nothing on the roster.
No.
I don't know.
I get it though, because other teams have the upper hand because they're like, listen, if you don't trade him now for like a 3 and a 5 next year, he's just going to walk.
Yeah, then you have to pay him.
Yeah,
that's why the
for nothing.
Trades are so tough to pull off because you're never getting the value that you think you deserve for a player of that caliber.
Yep. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with all of the receivers. I think the receivers, free agents left, and this class in the draft is the most intriguing overall at a position.
I think it's such a fascinating case study because all these receivers are now getting paid. They're stars. They impact a team, but they play at a position where there's like a lot of guys that are stars and can impact a team right away out of the draft. Mm-hmm. They're like becoming the new running backs where you're like, all right, I'm not going to pay this running back because I can get some guy in the 2nd or 3rd round who can do the same job for a lot less money. And I look at the Eagles, a perfect example. Like Quez Watkins was our 2nd best receiver. I think he can be a really solid wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
They took him in the 6th round, Yep. So it's like, yeah, you want Tyreek Hill, but that's a lot of money.
Do you want Tyreek Hill for quarterback money?
Exactly. And that's the decision now that teams are going to be forced to make where you're like, all right, I have this ultra talent, but I could also find a guy like you, if you're the Seahawks, you might be looking and be like, do we believe Treylon Burks could just be the next DK Metcalf and we can just save ourselves a ton of money and pick up more picks? Like, it's just a fascinating case study what that position. And it's almost like the real estate market. Like, is this just going to pop? The wide receiver market just going to pop?
And I don't know. I've been noticing this a lot in Cowboys Twitter land because I've been trying to be very active in Cowboys Twitter lately. And I don't know if it's just like a Cowboys Twitter or if it's other teams do it too. I've been seeing a lot of like comparison Twitter, I call it, where and it's clickbait shit where like these accounts, it's like Micah Parsons burner and it's like, Dak forever, like those type of accounts. And then they put up a picture and it's like CeeDee Lamb and it's like the Gator and it's like Justin Jefferson. They're like not even close. And I'm like, why? And then people are like, hell yeah, like, fire emoji, like all this shit. I'm like, what are we even doing? Like, why? Like, especially Justin Jefferson, he's been balling out. I love CeeDee Lamb, but Justin Jefferson's done a lot more than he has so far in his career.
Listen, you could sign me up for either one, and I would be fine.
But I don't understand. Like, why do we even need to compare the two? Like, who cares?
Yeah, that's a very odd comparison because they don't often cross paths.
Oh,
that's another guy, Justin Jefferson. Like, you're probably gonna have to pay him.
Yeah. Oh, it's
very soon, and I don't know. It's just that's fascinating. So we'll see. And like we talked about, our TikTok tonight is top 5 wide receivers in the draft. So that's gonna be fun as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really interested. I am. All right. What about the news of the day for you?
News of the day: Tyrann Mathieu meeting with the Eagles.
A guy I think both of us want.
Yes, I think this would just be a no-brainer, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like you ever go to the store and you look at the item and you look at the price and then you look back at the item and you're like, this seems
wrong,
very undervalued. Yeah. Like, I think I'm getting a steal. Like, if you get Tyrann Mathieu for the right price, that's an absolute steal. Like, this would be a no-brainer to just pick him up and add him to this roster in a position of need.
Have you heard any rumblings of what he's looking for, what he wants? I know, like, we heard the Bobby Wagner stuff before he got signed of what he wanted. I feel like I haven't heard what he wants.
I haven't heard an exact price, but the way that the tweet was phrased, and I believe it was from Ian Rappaport, he said that the Eagles don't have a ton of cap room to play with, but for the right price, they would bring Tyrann Mathieu in. So I think that's the way to handle these things at this point. It's like, all right, we have our limit. We know, like an auction, like you know what limit you're going to put that card up for, and you know when you have to stop.
Can I ask why it was a Zoom? Like he was in New Orleans yesterday.
Yeah, I feel like they just do that now.
All right. I was going to say, there are COVID restrictions in Philly again, or?
Apparently there are. I think they're bringing the masks back, actually.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I don't know how that's going to fly.
Time
but
is
that's
circle.
neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why Tyrann Mathieu didn't fly to Philly.
Yeah, I was interested of why it was a Zoom, but yeah, I mean, a meeting's a meeting. If everything can be done over this nowadays, you don't really need to.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's virtual except me going into work. That's still a thing. The only human being left.
Yeah. I'm going out now again too, a little bit.
But you have a job where it's like, it's not an office. You're going to different. You're meeting with different people throughout
all day. Yeah,
that's
I don't
like a little bit different.
Yeah. I have to do that.
Yeah, I don't. I could sit here in the same exact spot
and probably get more done.
And get more done. There'd be 10 times less distractions.
Mm-hmm. Corporate accounts, Nina speaking. How can I help you? Yeah, they deal with that bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
All day. I think if he goes to Philly, I'm not going to be happy for a multitude of reasons. One, he can still play. I saw these people on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, he's fallen off." He was like one of the best DBs in the league when he was on slot receivers last year. Let up, I think, some of the least yards when he played down. He still has range. And what have we been saying for weeks? He brings that swagger, that attitude, switch that can help a defense immediately.
And that switch in terms of turnover potential, where he turns over a lot of people. He forces a lot of turnovers, a lot of strips, interceptions. He's just that guy. And this goes without saying because his name is the Honey Badger, and that's why he got that nickname. But he's just always around the ball. And I feel like the Eagles haven't had somebody like that in quite some time. Maybe since Brian Dawkins. And I love Malcolm Jenkins and I love Rodney McLeod, but they're just like geared a different way. Malcolm was always on the field and making plays, but he was never that guy like, oh, there's a fumble recovery. Who was there? Oh, Tyrann Mathieu, of course. Oh, wait, did that guy just get stripped? Who was it? Oh, Tyrann Mathieu. Oh, that ball didn't hit the ground and actually got picked off. Who was it? Oh, Tyrann Mathieu. How many times have you said that while watching since he was at LSU? All the time. And I think just like you said, that flip of a switch is what this team would really need, especially with a young quarterback.
Now, are you worried because he visited with the Saints this week? Where was he born? New Orleans. Where did he play college ball? LSU. I think those things are way overrated. I hear it all the time in Dallas, like, oh, he played at SMU. He's a Texas boy. He wants to come home. And then he signs anywhere else for more money. Von Miller, Texas A&M. He wants to come back, goes to the Bills I think the coming home thing is so overrated.
So I think it's case by case. So obviously, like, guys don't want to, they would love to live at home. They're not going to take a hometown discount. The idea of a hometown discount makes no sense. Like, guys don't want to do that. They want to get paid what their value is. Now, if the Eagles and the Saints offer the same amount of money, I'm assuming Tyrann Mathieu would probably want to be in New Orleans. Yes. If you're if they both give only 1 year and don't have an option for multiple years, like, I think he'll go to New Orleans, which would suck because, again, we're rooting against New Orleans now with this new trade. But yeah, the hometown discount thing is dumb. But I do think guys want to go home, but they're not going to do it for pennies. No. This is a business.
Agreed. Now, do you think his deal comes before the draft, or it's the same kind of thing, like you said, with some of these free agent wide receivers where teams are going to want to draft, see where they land, and then sign a guy like Tyrann?
I think his market has heated up enough that he needs to make a decision before the draft because we got to get our budgets in order.
Yep.
You know? Got to know before you go out, you got to know how much money you have on your card when you walk up to the bar. Because if you go to the bar and they hand you a card and the card doesn't work, it's going to be super embarrassing.
And you're in trouble.
You draft 9 guys and you already handed out the money to Tyrann Mathieu. Now you can't afford to draft 9 guys. It's going to be super embarrassing for you. You got to know what you can do in the draft based on how much money you have. So I think Tyrann Mathieu needs to be done. He's a big enough prospect. It's got to be done before the draft.
Can you tell Stephen Jones that about knowing how much money you have and what you can spend and that your cap money you can't spend at the bar or put in your pocket? Like, what are we doing? The Cowboys have just about the same cap space as the Eagles now, around $15 million. they could make this move for Tyrann Mathieu if they wanted to, and they should. They could. You put Tyrann Mathieu and Malik Hooker on the back end, and then you have Jaron Kearse being able to play box safety and just roam the field. Yes, please. Cowboys fans have been clamoring for this for years for him to come to Dallas.
I still just have this visual of him in a Dallas Star. Like, it just makes sense in my brain to see him in that. I can't envision him in an Eagles jersey, which it would be a great thing then if he signed with us, because it's like now free agents come to Philadelphia that are big names.
Yeah, I saw one of those like Instagram mock-ups of him in a Eagles jersey, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't. And I wasn't even hating on the Eagles. I was just like, yeah, it doesn't look.
Doesn't make
right.
sense.
Yeah.
In my brain, I've been trained as an Eagles fan to just not get my hopes up with big names, you know? Usually doesn't
Shiny
work
toy.
out in their favor. So
shiny toy.
Shiny new toy every time.
Yeah, so I mean, I would love for him. I don't even know the Cowboys. What do? They do their due diligence. That's what they say all the time. I don't even know if they've done their due diligence on Tyrann Mathieu. There's been kind of nothing on that. There's been the Bobby Wagner where they were, it's not in, it's not going to happen. The Von Miller, but there's been nothing on Tyrann Mathieu on the Cowboys end.
I say that's a good thing. Anytime your team's waiting in the weeds, that's actually a good thing. I feel like all of the Philly athletes that we've gotten, we were never like, oh, this team is the favorite to land them. And then they land them. It's always like, so-and-so is the favorite. And then out of nowhere, here we come. And I'm like, whoa.
I feel like that was Castellanos. Didn't that come out of nowhere?
Yeah, we were in on him and then we weren't. And then the same thing with Bryce. Like when we signed Bryce Harper, we were in originally and then there were other teams. And then and it took months. And then out of nowhere, like Bryce Harper's a Philly.
Yeah, I remember they're like, he's going to the West Coast. It's done.
Yeah, I think he met with the Giants like 2 days before.
Yep.
And then 2 days later, he was a Philly.
Awesome.
So I hope the same trajectory occurs with Tyrann Mathieu. But we'll see. Again, I still see that Dallas Star, so maybe it's a good thing that you haven't heard anything yet.
I don't know, because these Cowboys are doing little to nothing. They're signing some of their own, obviously. Jaron Kearse, which I was happy about. Dalton Schultz, they franchise tagged. Then they brought in a guy like Dante Fowler. But, I mean, there was other big names like Bobby Wagner. Dallas, all the fans wanted him there. He played for Dan Quinn, and they just said, it just didn't work out. And then Bobby Wagner came out this week after signing with the Rams saying there was mutual interest. He wanted to play for Dallas. He loves Dan Quinn. But then Dallas just couldn't get the financials right, and that's why he wasn't there. And everyone's like, oh, $50 million, 5 years. That's, if you look at the contract, it's like he has like a $6.5 million cap hit this year. It's nothing.
Yeah.
They can get out of the deal. Like it's a team-friendly deal while at the same time looking good for Bobby Wagner. Dallas could have done the same thing. They just don't want to. They have not signed a free agent for more than $6.9 million a year since Bobby. Oh my God, what was it? Brandon Carr. That was the last one. They scared him away.
I guess maybe they're just trying to. I know you can roll over cap space into the following year. I wonder if they're just like, all right, Zeke's going to be off the books. We're going to have money now. We'll just roll everything over. I wonder if that's the line of thinking. I genuinely have no idea, though.
I don't know. It's an interesting that no one can say that the Dallas Cowboys have gotten better this offseason yet. They're great drafters. Will McClay has put together phenomenal drafts, especially lately, minus Taco Charlton. But I don't know. They're worse. If
we just combined our front offices, I think we would be in fantastic shape. We just need one giant brain trust because you guys are great drafters. We're good at working the trades, getting value back in every trade that we do. A lot of the free agency acquisitions we make end up working out in terms of value. Once we make the trades and have the draft picks, then we suck at drafting guys. And you guys don't. You always hit on your picks. So if we just combined and formed one big brain trust, we would all be so happy. Birds and boys.
Let's go. Birds and boys do the draft together and do the front
literally
office
the
together.
Meme of the bandanas tied together, blue and red.
You and I should do a live stream like this with our mock drafts, but like a Madden one, and do it online of us putting together a team together.
I love that. I told you that in when we did our first mock draft. I would just do the drafts and then not play the season. I just love drafting and constructing the roster.
Well, so much fun. All right, so I have again, it's kind of like second week in a row. I'm kind of banning myself on talking Cowboys much because there's really nothing else happening.
They're really not throwing you a bone lately. They're just really not throwing you a bone.
There's nothing. The biggest news was that Trayvon Diggs was at Stephon Diggs' press conference today for his contract signing. So cool. And that calm down. Okay. All these people, Cowboys fans, because Trayvon Diggs tweeted something about, I've always wanted to play with my brother. And then Stephon Diggs, who people don't realize is such a troll on Twitter and hilariously put out like eye emojis. And everyone's like, he's coming to Dallas. Oh my God, Stephon Diggs. And then 2 days later, he signs a $90 million deal. Just stop. They won't even sign Bobby Wagner for $8 million. You think they're trading for Stephon Diggs?
Well, here, let's look at it this way. Maybe they're not trolling. Maybe Trayvon Diggs is just going to Buffalo.
Oh, God.
Take the opposite perspective.
Yeah, that could happen.
He's just going with Stephon, and they'll still be playing together.
In
but
2 years.
Buffalo. Yeah,
in
2
2
years. Exactly. They'll be able to sign Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah,
the Bills
right.
will.
Yeah, shoot myself. Somebody wrote on Twitter too. They were like, "What are your?" Somebody was like, "We're doing cancel culture Cowboys takes. What's your worst Cowboys take that people will get mad about?" And I was like, Trayvon Diggs will have 3 or under interceptions this season.
The law of averages will definitely. I could definitely see that happening.
It's gonna happen.
What's funny, he'll have a better coverage. You can just see what's coming.
Oh, yeah.
He'll have a better coverage season, less interceptions. Everyone will be like, "Oh, he fell off." And
Like Byron Jones. It
Yeah.
was like Byron Jones. No one loved him because he didn't get interceptions, but he gave up no yards.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and now we get Trayvon Diggs who gives up all the yards and gets all the picks. And it's just like, where's the middle?
That visual representation of,
Yes.
of seeing the interception. He's like, he must be good. I'm
Yep.
watching him catch the ball.
Yeah. He has to be the best. Everyone remember he's like, he's going to win MVP. Oh my God.
That was a conversation.
Yeah,
like
literally.
halfway through the year, like, I think Trayvon Diggs might win MVP.
It's like, can we stop, please?
Yeah.
I love Trayvon Diggs. Thank you. But
But it's not even just him. It's just like, when is it never? It always goes to a quarterback. It's always a quarterback.
yeah, come on.
not gonna be someone on
Brady's
defense.
still in the league. Rodgers is still in the league. Mahomes is still in the
Mahomes.
league.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's still in the league. Yeah. I
No
don't know.
chance.
No chance. I'm trying to think too of what else before we get into our TikTok is happening in the league. And besides like that flurry of free agency and trades in the beginning of the offseason, I think everything's kind of quieting down because teams are like starting to laser focus on the draft and their 30 visits and all that deal right now.
I have a question for you real quick before we get into TikTok. Was the 30 visit always a thing?
For as many years as I can remember. Yeah.
I just keep hearing that term. It's like top 30 visits, you get 30. I just thought you visited with whoever you
No,
wanted.
you could have 30. So
feel
for
like
me,
I've
I've always known it because like the draft show, they talk about it all the time. And the Cowboys media talk about it all the time. Like who the 30 visit, so I've been like, I guess my brain just been trained to know about it.
Yeah, I guess this, maybe I just didn't. I don't know. I really have never heard that term before. And now I feel like I hear it every time there's a visit. It's a top 30 visit is how they phrase it. So maybe people just didn't phrase it like that before.
You know what's funny too with Dallas? I don't know how they get away with this, but there's like this thing called like Dallas Day, where like any player that I think is from the area or played in the area, like Texas A&M, SMU, TCU, Texas, they do like kind of like a visit for teams in Dallas, but the Cowboys can visit with all those players and they don't count towards the 30 visit.
That is a genius idea.
So
that
I think
is
like Kenyon Green, like the guard tackle, do it all player for Texas A&M. He's not a 30 visit because they can just do it during Texas Day.
Yeah, and you don't have to use one of your visits.
Yeah.
I love that. Is college basketball level scummy recruiting. That
So call up the Rat, start up Philly Day.
Yeah, it'll just be Temple kids, but yeah, and Rutgers.
Yeah, maybe LaSalle doesn't even have a football team, right?
No. I would just go straight to St. Joe's Prep and just get those kids scouted out right away.
Well, Nova's got a football team.
Yeah, that's where Brian Westbrook went, so it worked
there
out
you
one
go.
time
Well,
for us.
It's not a Philly school, some people say. So it doesn't count.
No, if they're good, they
Yes,
are.
then it counts,
They
yeah.
lose. So when they beat Houston, they were a Philly school. When they
Yeah.
lost to Kansas,
Nope.
they're
The
an odd one.
Burbs. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Doesn't count. All right, you want to get into this TikTok before we then do our mock draft?
Yeah, I think this TikTok really fits with what we've been talking about. So I think this is the perfect time to do it.
And I think producer Vince is going to be very happy because we're right around a 30-minute episode. And
We made his life so much easier today.
right? Happy boy.
For
Happy
once.
boy.
Yeah.
All right. So we're doing top 5 receivers in the draft. We'll go from 5 to 1.
Perfect. No normal triangle. Just go back and
No.
forth.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang. All right. At 5, I have Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. I think he has enormous big playability. I think just one-on-one, he wasn't able to be covered at Penn State. He was really their only option on offense, and he still was able to thrive this past season with shoddy quarterback play, not a lot of other weapons around him, and still was incredibly productive. I think he'll be a hit in the second round, Jahan Dotson, number 5.
5 for me, it's the guy that you love, Drake London out of USC. I know you don't want a Pac-12 receiver anywhere near your team, but this dude can ball out. I watched it with my own eyes against Notre Dame. He just catches everything. He can fly. He can go up. I would not doubt if he is the first or second receiver off the board in the draft. He has that type of ability, but like you said, he didn't play in the SEC or at Ohio State. So that does scare me a little bit, but I think he has the potential to have a great career in the NFL.
I hope he's off the board by 15, so we're not even tempted. Just take the option out of our hands. At 4, I have Garrett Wilson. He went to Ohio State, and you just can't go wrong with these Ohio State receivers. I'm sure this won't be the last time that we're saying Ohio State in these rankings.
4 for me, Ohio State, Chris Olavey. I love this kid. He's been mocked to the Cowboys a lot. I don't know if he lasts to 24. I don't think he's going to. So I think if Dallas wants him, they're going to have to move up. I see some like Keenan Allen out of him. He's not a burner, but he's a big guy. He's a route runner. Or he's not a big guy, excuse me. He's more of like a slot type guy, but he is such a precise route runner. He just is always open.
Yes.
And that kind of reminds me of Keenan Allen. I don't know how he does it, but he's just always open. And he's not the fastest guy.
They all are. It's just when you watch Ohio State, you're like, wait, why are there 4 different guys and no one's near them?
Makes no sense.
Their offense is ridiculous. All right. At 3, I have Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I think he is shooting up everyone's draft boards at this point because he's such a physical mismatch. I was watching this play where he turned a bubble screen into an 80-yard touchdown just the other day. He is going to go off the board a lot higher than people think. I don't even know if he touches 20.
3 for me, it's Treylon Burks as well. I've seen him ranked as the top receiver in this draft in a lot of rankings now. He has been mocked a lot to Dallas. He's a 30 visit for Dallas. He went to Arkansas. Who else went to Arkansas? Jerry Jones. He loves drafting Arkansas guys. But again, I don't think he's going to be there at 24 anymore. A couple weeks ago, if you mocked him there, okay. But the way his trajectory has been, I don't think he's going to be there. He can do it all. He can almost be a poor man's Deebo Samuel, I feel like, in a couple years in this league, too. So, Treylon Burks, number 3 for me.
Love to hear that. Maybe we need to look into that. At 2, I have Jamison Williams out of Alabama. The knee injury doesn't scare me a ton. I know with the Eagles, they do care about injury red flags and drafting someone coming off an injury. It doesn't scare me a ton, though, with him. And again, best players on the best team. He was the best receiver on a good Alabama team with Bryce Young. Get the band back together, Devontae and Jamison Williams.
Number 2 for me, it's Garrett Wilson. For some reason, I feel like his stock has been the quietest. I feel like all these other guys have been talked about. Treylon Burks is shooting up, Drake London, Chris Olave, even Sky Moore is getting a ton of pub. And I feel like Garrett Wilson was the number 1 ranked receiver. And for some reason, he's just been quiet. And I feel like that's how he also plays on the field. Again, another guy he's just open all the time. He catches everything. He played at Ohio State. Draft him.
Yes. Easy. It can be an easy world.
1 + 1 = 2.
Exactly. Don't make it harder than it is. At 1, I have Chris Olave. I think he's a route running technician. We talked about it. There's a reason these kids at Ohio State are always open. There's just a smoothness to his game that actually reminds me a little bit of Devontae Smith. Probably not the speed and burst that Devontae has, but again, just always open, constantly running crisp routes to get himself separation. Doesn't drop a lot of passes. I think he was just like the wide of all the wide receivers at Ohio State. He seemed to be the most dependable. Now, some of those guys were young, so they'll have their opportunity. But I really like Olave, where he's just going to be that perfect wide receiver 2 for somebody where he's just open at all times.
I feel like for both of our teams needing receivers, I think Chris Olave would be the best fit for both of ours because he would be very Dak friendly and very Hurts friendly. Like you said, he doesn't drop a lot of balls and he's a tactician running routes. I think he would be the best fit for both of our teams.
It's that he's that guy that on 3rd and 5 and you need a first down, he gets you 7 yards, even though everyone on defense knows that they are going to run a route for Chris Olavey to get 7 yards.
Done.
That is the perfect example.
Every time. All right, one for me, it's Jamison Williams. Like you said, the ACL does not scare me. It's 2022. ACL injuries are like a broken pinky these days. Guys just bounce back like this. It's not like, they're out for 2 years, career is over. The things that he's already doing at the pro day last week, jumping around, running, he's going to be a freak at the next level. His speed is unbelievable. You saw the difference in that Alabama offense once he came off the field in the playoff compared to what they were doing in the beginning of the game. So I think he's going to be an actual difference maker, and I think he's going to be a difference maker in year 1 coming off the injury. He's my number 1 receiver in this draft.
True. I agree with that. I think there's a lot of talent at this position again. What a case study.
Love it. Absolutely love it. That's all I have on my end. I'm very excited to go into our other room and do our mock draft now. So if you didn't catch mock draft 1.0, head over to our YouTube page right now. If you're listening to Birds vs. Boys, if you're watching us on YouTube, just as soon as this is over, click out and then go click mock draft 1.0. And then chances are now mock draft 2.0 is going to be there because we're going to go record it right now.
3 weeks away from draft day.
Can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Go follow us everywhere. Anywhere podcasts are, you can listen to us. YouTube page, you can see our smiling faces. Check our Twitter because our Twitter is awesome. We have great content. Check out my Twitter, Kmess22. Aidan's, there's underscores and stuff.
Yeah.
But
not worth the breath.
But follow us because especially right now during draft season, like we said last week on the show, the season itself is 1 for us, but draft season is 1A. We love the draft. We're going to be doing I think we'll probably start it next week, our videos where we're going to be breaking down players and heading them on our YouTube page as well.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, happy draft season, and we will be back next week. Thank you for listening to episode 111 of Birds vs. Boys.
See you at 112 for the Tyrann Mathieu show.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.